Hi, welcome to North State Law, where we safeguard your professional license so you can get back to business. My name is Nick Dogle, and I'm still the owner and founder. So I want to talk a little bit about two different penalties associated with child care facilities and the owners that have those licenses. So normally when you would think of a written reprimand versus a written warning, I think most people would look at the reprimand and go, oh, that's got to be worse than the written warning. Not in the case with the Division of Child Development or Early Education. The written warning is going to be slightly more severe than the written reprimand. Written reprimand is going to be basically the lowest penalty that a child care or daycare facility would get through DCDEE going through that whole process. So a little bit about the written reprimand. So the biggest difference between the written reprimand and the written warning is that there's no corrective action plan with the written reprimand. Written warning, you do have to do a corrective action plan, also known as a CAP, and basically what it is whatever was done. Typically these are usually really minor stuff. There just seems to be like an accumulation of them and stuff what might have not been corrected the last couple visits with the consultant. And then at a certain point, the consultant is just going to say, hey, I've talked to you about this multiple times. This still is not done. Or it could be something kind of like maybe mid-level egregious. And every once in a while, it can be something where you work out for a written warning that can be perceived on its face as being egregious, but it turns out that it wasn't as bad as what was initially thought. So anyways, corrective action plan is essentially what the state comes up with that has to be corrected, right? And it's a plan that you have to take action on. So corrective action plan, CAP. And it's a long list, like you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. Well, one example would be, say you've got a couple allegations, one being that you didn't have the children's food at a specific temperature, or the refrigerator wasn't set at a specific temperature. And this is just a wild example. Obviously, a quick fix to that, change your policy procedures, make sure you actually correct the temperature setting in the refrigerator. And then if that was the only thing on the CAP, then you're done. And you comply, show the state proof of compliance, and you're good. So again, with the written reprimand though, you don't have to worry about a CAP because none is issued. Usually with the other difference between the written reprimand and the warning is you could be accused of doing something and have actually done it. Administrative action is issued for X, Y, or Z. And those could rise to a level of needing a written warning and subsequently a CAP being issued. But the consultant and supervisors look at other factors enumerated in the administrative code. This one ends in .2201, subsection B, has a lot of factors in there, kind of mitigation and accelerating factors, factors that would be considered if something was done massively incorrectly, aggravating factors. But then there's also some mitigating factors in there as well in that particular portion of the code. So the division looks at that particular portion of the code, looks at what transpired, what's alleged in the administrative action, what's been confirmed through the administrative action. And if it looks like, based on all the factors enumerated in .2201 subsection B of their code, that it's not as egregious as they originally thought and therefore wouldn't warrant a CAP being issued, then they would go with a written reprimand versus the written one. But the CAP portion is the biggest difference between the two. You don't have to worry about going back and doing any corrective actions or anything along those lines, and having subsequent follow-ups to make sure the corrective action plan was adhered to or anything like that. I will say this though, once you were on DCDEE's radar, it's not easy to get off, especially initially. And there's really nothing that's either statutorily or in the code that an owner can do to keep them from coming by. I mean, as long as you're doing things in the purview of inspections and follow-ups and things like that, they have a right to do that, unfortunately. Sometimes it can see like you're being singled out. Just weather the storm. Because typically in about like 5-6 months, everything is kosher, maybe even a little bit less depending on the consultant. But if everything's going good during an extended period of time, you're probably going to have less and less visits as they get more comfortable with you again. So If you got any follow-up questions, please check out my website, northstatelawfirm.com. Got a lot of blogs on there. Got a lot of videos on my YouTube channel. If you don't see any of the information you're looking for, then please give my office a call, 919-521-8810. I'm going to send it again, 919-521-8810, to speak with a member of my staff about a free 15-minute discovery call. So one of the members of my staff will be happy to chat with you for the 15 minutes, gather some more information, answer questions, and things of that nature. So appreciate all you're doing out there in the great state of North Carolina. Please keep keeping our kids safe. All right, bye-bye.